Along with the electron beam tubes discussed so far, the microwave semiconductor devices became increasingly important because of smaller in size and low power requirement. So here in this lecture I am going to discuss a few microwave semiconductor devices, mainly the transistor type devices I am going to discuss over here. In the category of transistors, the bipolar junction transistor and MESFET, which is the metal semiconductor field effect transistor, will be discussed in this lecture. In the case of BJT, I am just going to discuss the high frequency model because the operational principle and the configuration for the bipolar junction transistor already known to us. It is only important for the BJT which model we are going to use for which range of frequencies, since the microwave frequency ranges are very high compared with those frequency ranges for which we have discussed or you have studied the bipolar junction transistor in your earlier semesters. So that is why the high frequency model of the BJT I am going to discuss for the purpose of the application in microwave ranges. Next one is the metal semiconductor field effect transistor. This particular device is new to you, although along with the bipolar junction transistor and MESFET, MOSFET, FET, these type of devices are also equally applicable in microwave frequency ranges. But the MOSFET and FET will be studied in different courses. So therefore, the only new device that should be introduced in this particular course is the MESFET, and I am going to discuss this one only. The microwave solid state devices can be categorized mainly into these four categories. See, the first one is the microwave transistors, next one is the field effect transistors, then transferred electron device, and the avalanche transit time devices. The transistors we know, field effect transistors, already from this name we can we can identify what should be the devices that should be included in this particular category, that is JFET, MOSFET, AHEMT. This type of devices should be included the field effect transistor category because of their working principles. So all of these devices works on the basis of the field effect and exhibit the output characteristics like the transistors. So that is why they are called the field effect transistors. And the previous one is the microwave transistor, which includes the microwave BJT, heterojunction bipolar transistor, that is called HBT, and the tunnel diode. Here the author from where I have taken this table, so this author preferred to include this tunnel diode within this microwave transistor, but since by mechanism this is like a diode, so I do prefer to separate this tunnel diode from this transistor category because this category represents only transistors. So that is why if you can represent this particular tunnel diode in a different category. Next one is the transferred electron devices. So this is another mechanism by which a negative resistance is obtained. So the negative resistance is also obtained in the case of tunnel diode also. Because of this negative resistance we will see in my next lecture, where I will discuss the GaN diode only. So there, due to presence of this negative resistance, the oscillations can take place, and that oscillations is the reason of generation of microwave energy and the microwave signal as well. Next one is the avalanche transit time devices. So here these four type of devices fall in this category of avalanche transit time devices, where this impact diode, which is stand for the impact ionization transit time devices, this is also fall in the category of diode, and the basic principle of this impact diode will be understood by describing this red diode in my next lecture. Here in this case I am going to discuss only the bipolar junction transistor and the MESFET. As already you have studied in your lower semester regarding the bipolar junction transistor, that it has two kind of model. One for the low frequency model, which is called the hybrid model, and another is the high frequency model. The low frequency model is specifically used for the low frequency ranges, and the high frequency model is used for the high frequency ranges. Now, the main difference between the low frequency and high frequencies are the introduction of these capacitors, these three capacitors, because as the frequency increases, the junction capacitor become significantly important in comparison with the low frequency ranges of the transistor model. So therefore, these three capacitors have been included in this particular model, keeping all other term almost equal to the low frequency model. So this is the input impedance, or you can call it is called base spreading resistance, which appears in between the physical base contact and the internal base contact, and this is you can relate it this RB, which in the case of high frequency model or GI collider model, you can relate this RB with the R pi or HIE if you compare it with the low frequency model. And this is the base to emitter capacitor appears across the base emitter junction, and this one is the base to collector capacitor appears across the base collector junction, and this one is the collector to emitter capacitor appearing across the collector to emitter junction. And this is his GM times V B dash E, because this B dash is a internal base contact which you cannot access, through which the physical contact is connected, and you can access this contact. So this V dash B is the voltage which is appearing across this capacitor, is responsible to produce the current that finally produces the output voltage or output current. This resistance R0, this is the output resistance which appears across the collector to emitter junction, and the presence of this resistance is due to the RD effect. If you remember the small signal model, then you can easily relate this R0 with the small R0 which has been introduced in the low frequency model due to the RD effect. So that resistance should also appear in the case of high frequency model, because in the case of high frequency model the RD effect also be present there. These are the standard definitions for the GM, which is the transconductance, and finally the expression for GM is appearing in this form, or it takes this form, where this IC you can express as shown over here, and this capacitor can be expressed as shown in this expression, and from here we can easily identify the expression of the IC, and if you replace the IC over here, then final form of this capacitor is taking as shown over here. So this capacitor is coming in terms of this GM. So therefore the voltage drop across the capacitor, which is the main voltage responsible to produce the output current, can be expressed in terms of the capacitor as this C is nothing but this capacitor. Next is the metal semiconductor field effect transistor or MESFET. The main advantage of MESFET over the MOSFET is the higher mobility of the charge carrier in the channel. But the disadvantage of the MESFET is the presence of Schottky metal gate, as you can see over here. The Schottky metal gate basically limits the forward bias voltage on the gate to turn on voltage of the Schottky diode, because since the presence of the Schottky barrier appears as a Schottky diode, so therefore the turn on voltage of this diode is typically around 0.7 volt for this gallium arsenide based MESFET. Therefore, if your operational voltage range is large enough so that you can easily bother this 0.7 volt loss across these Schottky barrier junction, then it is always be preferred to use the MESFET instead of the MOSFET because higher mobility of the charge carriers to this channel. The gallium arsenide semiconductor is preferred most to use as a substrate for the construction of this MESFET, and you can see this is the substrate. A buffer layer which is epitaxially growth on the substrate in order to separate the transistor operation, that means this channel, from the defects exist within the substrate. Since mobility of an electron is around 20 times faster than that of the hole, so that is why a very thin layer of conducting channel, n-doped conducting channel, is grown over the buffer layer, or that is also epitaxially grown over the buffer layer, that represents the, or that acts as the channel for the transistor. Next, a highly doped n-type layer is grown over the channel in order to achieve the low resistance ohmic contact during the fabrication of the MESFET. And finally, you can see that layer is etched away in the channel region. Two ohmic contacts are fabricated, one as a source, another as a drain, and a rectifying or Schottky contact is fabricated in between them in order to facilitate the operation of gate for the transistor. Next is the working principle of the MESFET. Here, in order to discuss the working principle, I have presented the MESFET without the base contact. You can see there is no base contact exists in this device. Only the drain contact and source contact exists. So therefore, three parasitic resistances are appearing for the source contact, that means from the source contact to the semiconductor source region, and from the drain contact to the semiconductor drain region, and in between the channel there exists this resistor, the parasitic resistor RDS. With this condition, if you apply a positive voltage at the drain, which is here VD, whereas the source is connected with the ground potential, so that means you have applied a positive potential across the drain to source terminal. And with this connection, if you increase the VD along the positive direction, then the electron from the source will be attracted towards the drain. As a result, a current will flow in opposite direction, and that current will increase monotonically, as you can see over here, due to presence of this applied voltage VD and the existing parasitic resistors, that means RS for the source, RDS for the channel, and RD for the drain region. And this current increases linearly and obviously monotonically with the application of the drain voltage. Now, as you are going to increase this VD more and more, then for a large value of VD, the electron's velocity gets saturated, and finally the current also gets saturated to a maximum value, which is called IDSS, for a large value of VD which is applied, say for this, according to this diagram, at this position. And the expression for the current can be expressed as shown in this equation, where the Z represents the width of the channel, you can see from here, Bx represents the effective channel depth, that means this one, N represents the density of the charge, and V represents the velocity of the charge carrier. So as the velocity gets saturated, so therefore the current also will be saturated for a large value of applied bias VD, and that current is named here as IDSS at saturation. This is a maximum current that you can have when the velocity gets saturated due to application of the large bias voltage. Now let's see what will happen if we apply the gate. Now here the gate terminal exists but the gate voltage is 0. This is the first case I am considering. Due to presence of this gate, a Schottky junction will be formed within the channel or in the channel region. So therefore, the depletion region also will appear accordingly. You can see the depletion region as shown over here, and the width of the depletion region will be smaller near to the source and it will be larger near to the drain region, because the voltage difference between drain to gate is larger compared with the gate to source region or gate to source terminal, and that is why the depletion region or the width of the depletion region is appearing larger nearer to the drain region compared with the source region. And as we know, the depletion region means the region which is depleted of charge carriers. So that is why right now the channel is containing less charge or less number of charge as it was containing when the gate contact was absent in the previous case that I have discussed. As a result, the channel resistance gets increased. Now, if you apply the positive bias voltage at the drain terminal with respect to the source, and you will increase the drain to source voltage as you have done in the previous case, then the current will increase linearly for the linear region as you have seen in the earlier case, but the saturation will appear earlier compared with the previous case when I have considered that there exists no gate terminal, because of the higher drain or higher channel resistance. Because you have seen in earlier case the current which was increasing linearly due to the applied bias voltage across this drain to source and the three parasitic resistors for the source, drain and the channel. Right now, since due to the depletion region the channel resistance gets increased, the current which was increasing linearly and gets saturated will appear at the saturation at the earlier value or a smaller value of current compared with the previous case. That is why the maximum value at which the device gate will be saturated is reduced compared with the case when there exists no gate contact. Now I am applying a negative gate voltage at the gate contact, as you can see over here. Due to application of the negative voltage, since as I already told during the construction of the MESFET that the channel is made of n-doped semiconductor in order to gain the higher mobility over the holes. So, and right now you are applying the negative voltage at the gate terminal, so that negative voltage repels these negative charge carrier or the electrons which exist in the channel as a charge carriers. So therefore, with the negative voltage, the electrons are depleted from the channel. Consequently, the channel resistance increases much more compared with the case when gate voltage was 0. In this way, if you increase the gate voltage keeping the drain to source voltage, drain to source terminal voltage constant, then you will reach at a point when the entire channel width will be covered by the depletion region and the drain current will be reduced down to a negligible value, or you can consider that is equivalent to 0, and at that point of time you can say the channel or the device is pinched off, and that is the pinched off phenomena which also you have seen that occurs in the case of MOSFET and FET. Here also the pinched off is appearing due to the depletion region which is caused due to the Schottky gate contact. The pinched off voltage for the MESFET is expressed as you can see over here, where Q represents the charge of the electron, epsilon S represents the permittivity of the channel, Nd is the donor concentration, and A represents the channel width. In my previous discussion, the channel width is represented by the Bx. Here A is equals to that B, and the transconductance which has a general expression that means the output rate of change of output current with respect to the rate of change of applied voltage or the input voltage. So this is the output current, the drain current, and the gate to source voltage is the applied voltage, because gate is the terminal where the input signal will be applied. So that is why the transconductance is defined as the derivative of the drain current or the output current with respect to the input voltage. The unity gain bandwidth, which is denoted by Ft, is another most important factor while describing the operation of the transistor, because this is the parameter which defines the bandwidth for a device or for a transistor. And you already have studied the idea of the Ft or unity gain bandwidth from the bipolar junction transistor. Here also Ft signifies the same thing, and the expression of the Ft as shown over here. So this is Ft is related with the saturation velocity and the length of the channel. So L represents the length of the channel, and at saturation the saturation velocity is around 6 into 10 to the power 10 micrometer per second for the gallium arsenide material. Therefore, in order to achieve the Ft larger than 10 GHz, that means in order to operate the MESFET for a microwave regime, the length of the channel must be less than 1 micrometer, and that will define the Ft greater than 10 GHz.